Hey guys, welcome to Geek Talk, the talk show where we talk about everything geek. I'm your host, Anthony, and today we have a couple of surprises. The best surprise, the topic for tonight, we're going to be talking about the best games. I'm not talking about good games. I'm not even talking about great games. I'm talking about the best games that I can guarantee you that you have not heard of. I have here today Bad Lex. I've got Cherry.
Hey.
I've got Lewis. And I've got Bastet. All right, Cherry, get us started. First question for you. Talk to me. What is one of the best games that our chat has not heard of?
Okay, so one of the best games our chat has not heard of is gonna be One Strike. Now, One Strike is it's an indie game you can get on, I believe, the Nintendo Switch eShop. And the reason I bought this game is because it's only like $1. Like, I don't even think I paid a whole dollar for it. I think I paid like 95 cents for this thing. And one of the things I love about it is that I don't know how many people are super into fighting games, but fighting games are complex. They're incredibly complex. They test you on a lot of different things, your ability to do a lot of different things all at the same time, and like you have to do it in like 90 seconds so you die to the other person. So one of the things I found really interesting was actually this little app on your phone called Footsies, sort of a side tangent, and it's basically a little mini fighting game you can play on your phone that teaches you the art of like playing footsie. So you have to very carefully get within your opponent's range and try to kill them. And One Strike is basically like an advanced version of that with multiple characters. So every character has their own unique movement options, more or less a block button. Some characters can't actually block. It depends. Some of them can only parry, and everyone dies in one strike. So what this game effectively teaches you to do for 90 cents, by the way, and also it recently got a free update with more characters and more modes. So again, just $1. So basically what this game does, it teaches you the ins and outs of playing footsies and learning the importance of timing your defense. So people who are looking to get into fighting games, this is one of those little places you can start very quickly and just pick it up. So I put up like the 20 hours in this game, and again, like I feel stressed, like it's only 90 cents.
SS Blastoise said that app is actually OP for fundamentals.
Yes, the Footsies app. That Footsies app recently just got an update called Rollback Edition. So now you can play with other people.
Now, Cherry, talk to me. Why do you feel like that game went under the radar?
Well, first of all, it's basically I had to dig into the Nintendo eShop game just to find it. I only found it because like I occasionally just go like scumming through like the Nintendo eShop Switch sales. So I go to the sales up. I just keep flipping until I see something interesting. So I eventually saw it, and like they were basically giving it away for free. I think maybe regular price is $2, but it was only $1. So unless you're actively searching for small stuff like this, you just don't usually see these.
I'm not no fighting game connoisseur. I barely could get a punch in Tekken, and yeah. That's a 3-layered joke there, but.
It's actually that Tekken joke, because Tekken is all about movement, and a lot of what makes fighting games difficult is that like people who have been playing there's basically two different people who've been playing fighting games. People who just saw like that one tournament scene and now want to do it, and people who've been playing since they first came out. So there's a huge gap that you need to bridge that is like filled with years of experience that all cross over from different fighting games. And this is one of the reasons that we've been talking about people playing these more simpler games, because it's just a great educational tool.
And I wish Taz was here. Taz is currently streaming as well.
Ooh,
Taz would love it, because me personally, I'm not that great at fighting games. I can't work that fast a lot of the times, and I try, and Taz is like, you got to keep playing, because the more you play, right, obviously the more you play, the better that you're gonna get.
It becomes like muscle memory.
Exactly,
Yes.
muscle memory. And like as this Blastoise said, it's 90 cents to flesh out your neutral. So like for me personally, I was very into competitive Pokemon, right? Like very much into competitive Pokemon. The thing is, when you do those types of things, and this game would be perfect for that, like same thing, it's about getting your butt kicked over and over again. And for 90 cents, you're fleshing out that neutral. You're fleshing out like that muscle memory, like Lewis said. Okay, yeah. Okay, I know if they're going to go this way, I should do this. If I'm going to do this, they should do that. Or they're going to do that. And if I do this, I'm going to be able to punish that. And you keep doing it over and over and over. And then, yeah, exactly. It says Blastoise. It transfers. That skill transfers over into other fighting games that might not be 90 cents. You might transfer that into Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Or you might transfer that over into Mortal Kombat 11, right? Like that for 90 cents, and it's on the Switch. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, I feel like one of the biggest hurdles people have when fighting games is just getting comfortable with losing a lot. Because like I don't even go online that much with fighting games because I get uncomfortable. Like sometimes you just walk into a match like, okay, I think I got this, and then you get immediately scrapped and it's like, well, now I don't want to do anything anymore. I want to go hide in a hole.
Oh, I love losing. I love losing.
You eventually learn to love to get your butt kicked after.
Oh yeah, because you get your butt kicked in a way, and you're like, I deserve that.
Or you watch them like, damn, that guy is really good. Can you do that again? So my second pick is going to be, it's technically going to be every mecha game to ever exist. But for this one, I want to specifically go with one of the most recent ones that came out, Damon X Machina. So,
sorry, I'm still laughing at your every mecha game comment.
Yes, every mecha game. I have a secret love fetish affair with mecha games.
Is
yes.
it really secret though?
Well, it's not anymore. We coming out the street. So okay, so it's been a long so mecha games. They are incredibly niche.
Yes,
incredibly niche. Well, there was more of them back in the PlayStation days, you know, back when you had a lot more, they could afford a lot more creativity. And this Damon X Machina specifically is actually from the creator who got me interested in mecha games, which was the Armored Core franchise.
Yep.
And so my first mecha game was Armored Core 4, and the gameplay is very, very much similar to this one. You basically have a giant mecha that you control, and you go around flying, shooting at other robots. But the thing that got me into this game is just how cool it makes you feel when you're flying around. Like it feels like piloting a Gundam, except more explosions going on, which sounds hard to imagine, but it's great. The mecha genre is deep. It's deep. Armored Core 4 was a bit of a turning point where they went from like realistic-ish mechas that move the side, like mostly move the size of a brick, to like soaring through the sky mechas. And this is part of the soaring through the sky mechas. Now there is some like unfortunate parts about being interested in the mecha genre. One of them is that these games are basically impossible to balance.
Oh yeah,
like,
I'm sure.
There is no balance to these games. Like they try. Like God bless their hearts, they've tried. But like the single player, you're probably going to find the single player when you're not fighting another mecha is like you just ruffle stomping all the little tiny mechs, which is fun by itself.
Which is fun, yeah.
Yeah, which is fun. They kind of mixed up by having different mission objectives. But often you can find a way to cheese those around. And if you want to get into multiplayer, which is a whole nother can of beans, like if you're trying to balance a mecha game for single player and multiplayer, you've taken on the task of like, what's that guy who pushes the rock up the hill eternally?
Bad Lex. I'm throwing you under the bus here.
I can't remember his name. He's a Greek person.
Come on, Bad Lex.
It's not.
I met him in Hades, and I don't remember his name.
Sisyphus.
Thank you, Sisyphus. Yes. Yeah,
you've basically taken up the Sisyphusian task of like eternally trying to do something that's just basically not possible. The thing I think I love most about Armored Core 4 is just like the absolute ambition of the creator. Because the creator of these games, he, like, if you look into his profile, he has so many crazy ideas. And when you listen to them, you're just like, man, that would never work. But God, I love you for thinking about that.
I mean, there was a big crazy idea of making Joy-Cons specifically for this game.
Oh shit! I still need to buy those. I really still need to buy those.
Yes, there are legitimate Joy-Cons that are made for this game that are full-fledged. It's a controller, like a literal controller, basically, that slides onto both sides of your Switch. Why do you feel like this game went under the radar?
So many games. So many. They didn't do a very good job advertising it, first of all.
No, they didn't.
No, they did not. The next thing is that, okay, so when this game first came out, it had a beta. Mm-hmm. And that beta did not go over very well. The game had a lot of issues at launch. Now, they went back and fixed that, but that does sort of leave an impression in your mind. And the last thing I feel like the reason why is mecha games are hard. Like, not so much in like difficulty, but they're just very hard to control.
Yeah.
Your buttons, your fingers have to be like all up and intimate in that controller just to like have like sort of optimal movements. You have to like start getting some claw grip going. There was even some originally in Armored Core 4 multiplayer. There was actually some tech where people would hold their controllers backwards. Like they would straight up hold their controllers backwards so they can get like optimal dashing time. It's crazy. I'm not kidding.
That's like Kirby Tilt and Twirl or whatever. They what they do for the speed run is they take a GameCube with the Game Boy adapter and they plug it into the GameCube and then they use the GameCube to move it. And to answer your question, Fantalite, this is what the Joy-Cons are. Made for this game that barely anybody bought, but people bought these Joy-Cons.
I know.
Not for the game.
It's amazing. It really is amazing.
Okay, this game was announced during the Smash Bros. Direct in November of 2018.
I remember that one.
This was announced with like when everybody was going hype about Smash Bros.
And that sort of made for sort of like middling reviews ish. You know, this game got a lot of 7s, a lot of 8s. That doesn't really inspire people to go out and buy it.
Oh yeah, but that always sucks because scores are just a number. You probably like the game if you try it. But that's just me. That's my hot take.
There's like a demo. You can actually try it.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
All right, so the first game I chose is actually I chose 2 GameCube games, or at least games I played on the GameCube. First one called Custom Robo.
Custom Robo.
So this would be a game where you get to design your own robot to fight against other people's robots that they designed.
So we got robot and robot back to back.
But the gameplay is fun. It's like you run around. It's like a 3D arena fighter, except instead of like going up close, most of the time you're shooting guns, bombs, leaving traps.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of like distant fighting in a 3D arena.
Mm-hmm.
Except the main draw of the game is the absolutely insane stories and characters that you go through in a single player.
Okay.
Because you're just a casual 18 to 25-year-old with completely gray hair, but it's fine. It's anime. It's anime.
Anime hair.
And that was a mistake.
Your landlord yells at you because you get up at noon every day and you need to get a job. So you decide to go apply to be a mercenary without having a robo or having ever used a robo. And you go there and it just goes downhill from there. Also uphill because I love this game. Also, there's no voice acting. All the voices are dots. Honestly, imagine like Animal Crossing speak, except it's a lot more solid. Like Animal Crossing is like nice and light. This is like I love this game so much.
Now, tell me, why do you feel like this game went under the radar?
Because it was on the GameCube. Next question.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Alright, but seriously, it's because it was not a first-party Nintendo title, and anime wasn't quite as... It was pretty, like, big, but it wasn't quite the mainstream so it probably turned a lot of people off,
And
especially
it was on the GameCube.
And it's on the GameCube. So some of the designs and tropes in there might have turned off a lot of audiences. And also, again, not first party Nintendo, so it didn't have that Mario or that Zelda or Metroid like push that a lot of the popular games did.
And it's interesting that this game comes out on the GameCube when all the other mecha games were on the PS2 at the same exact time. And fun fact for all of y'all, this game is a lot of money right now. I think this game is like $200 right now.
Ooh.
I love mine.
Don't quote me. I'm quoting Ligma prices. So, but yeah, this game is probably around $150. I'll say, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Also, it had a sequel on the DS that is a bit more like, I guess I would say child friendly. It's a bit less serious. Also,
it's a lot more high schooly. I actually have the game. I was thinking about talking about Custom Arena too.
Yeah, I have the game too. It's also a lot of fun, and they have a lot. I love both the games.
So, if I may interject just one more time, if we do have any custom robo fans out there, and you just need like any custom robo fix, there recently came out a game on the eShop called Synaptic Drive, which is another esport, and it is basically custom robo arena, but I would say not as good or as it doesn't really have the aesthetic, and the gameplay controls a bit more clunkier, and I absolutely hate the UI. But if you really need a custom robo game, just check out Synaptic Drive.
Y'all ever heard about The Witness?
The Witness.
I can't really describe this game without it sounding really cheesy.
All
but
right.
it's like, yeah, it's a puzzle game. You solve puzzles. Yay, exciting.
Okay.
Did we talk about The Witness? Have you witnessed The Witness? It's just, I don't know. Some of them are easy, obviously, because like they need to bait you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to go for that bait. And you're like, okay, duh, I could do this line. Oh, I could do this. Oh, I don't understand what this means.
Yeah.
But like once you figure that out, you're like, wow, okay, I'm smart.
I get it.
Do this.
So, bing, light bulb. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the best feeling with puzzle games.
It's fun. I don't know. I like the process of, I guess, like the build up, and then also the frustration, and then also like feeling like you're gonna give up. Like maybe I'll get the answer. Like maybe I'll just do it this one time, and then I finally figure it out. I'm like, didn't need that. I'm good. I got this. There's like, it's like a grid. It looks like a grid. There's circles, and those are the start points, and then there's like an end, and you have to end up there, and there'll be little symbols or like other weird things that you wouldn't think that would affect the puzzle will affect the puzzle. But as long as you get from there to there somehow, where you follow the rules, that's how you solve it.
That's code for speedrun.
Yeah.
I'm the end there, BRB.
I think the speedrun for this game, I think it's like 10 minutes.
Seriously? Oh
I think
God.
it's either like 10 or 15 minutes.
I did that.
Yeah, it's like 10 or 15 minutes.
It was an accident and I did it.
It's pretty lit.
Oh yeah.
Don't talk about it. I did that. I broke the game.
Now, Frozen
Yeah,
Cold
don't worry
Race,
about it.
it's like point A to point B. Okay, so yes, but
Yeah.
as someone that watched, sometimes point A will be you're looking out at a waterfall, and point B will be the sun.
What?
And I'm like, how? How?
Wow.
Okay, my train goes from. That's what that reminds me of.
I think Chris was the one that like brought it up, so like I've never even heard of it myself. I think I only had like a friend that like was like, "Whoa, you play The Witness?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I have no idea. I'm not into the news that much, so like I don't find out about games like personally. I always find out through friends.
Yeah.
But like I've only heard 2 other people talk about this game, so I don't know.
I think I might have seen The Witness run at a GDQ once.
It was.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
it
no.
was.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I remember it from that 1-0 punctuation video where he said like there's just a lot of puzzles.
A lot of puzzles. I mean, sometimes just walking is the puzzle. Point A is Geek Talk. Point B is Wholesome Sunday.
Wasn't using it
Yo,
anyway.
that's it right there. SS Blastoise. That's exactly right.
So the next game I was going by a game that I feel like no one ever played except for me.
Okay.
I don't know how unknown it is, but I went with Ape Escape 2. So the US version, which all the ports don't use that. It's a European version. Use all Pokemon voice actors.
Oh, yep.
So,
I remember that.
It's Ash's VA.
Veronica Taylor. Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh.
With cooperating with Misty's VA, and I forgot who plays the professor.
I don't remember.
Professor Oak.
I see why this is one of your choices.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Yeah, anyway, so it's a platformer where the goal is to capture creatures with your net.
Creatures.
If you catch enough, you get to the next level.
What are you
there's something-
capturing? What kind of creatures?
Apes.
Oh, you know.
Are they
The things
apes that
that apes-
escaped?
Why are we doing this to me right now?
Someone don't like apes, especially when they escape.
Can you please?
Where was I?
Anyway.
What happened?
God.
Actually talking about this game. It's a lot of fun. I played through it over and over again as a kid. And you got all sorts of gadgets to go through the levels. The levels are like huge and different kinds. It's good. Story's okay. I love collectathons. I talked about a previous Geek Talk that
Mhm.
all of my favorite games are basically collectathons. As I say, the entire point of this game is to just get everything. There's even like a little gacha machine that you also like use the coins you get in levels to have stuff come out. Sometimes you'll get like useless notes that come out too, so it's like an actual gacha machine.
I didn't know that Konami made the game.
Oh god.
Yeah, it was a collaboration.
Lohan.
I also would say under the radar. I feel like no one really played it though because it just looks weird.
Yeah.
It has like a very, I want to say, Japanese game sense of humor to a lot of it.
Yep.
Which again, during that same time period, like 2002 to 4, was still like not as well received.
I'm gonna say that yes, this game definitely went under the radar because I can tell you that there has not been a single time on Twitter in the 8 years that I've been on Twitter where someone was like, yo, we need to remake Ape Escape 2.
Maybe they just made it right the first time. Come on.
No, I'm gonna say doubt. Doubt that. Good lord. It is Nintendo World Cup Soccer.
Ooh.
NES, yes.
Wow, we taking it back.
Wait, I'm old, damn it.
Way back.
Last time I played this game, I was very little, so I remember very little about it. But it's a soccer game, and you choose like a country, and you go against other teams, and you kind of just beat the crud out of every other team.
Yeah, it looks like they're actually assaulting each other right now.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm like, we got
Red card. What are you doing, ref?
No red card.
Yo,
Rated M.
They're like drug kicking each other in the face. Oh my god.
I would be playing crying the entire time because I was dying laughing.
I can see that's amazing.
Yo,
Oh
is this
my
Fall
God.
Guys though? Because this looks like Fall Ball.
It's I love football.
It started from a young age.
God, yeah, seriously. I was a little one. It's an old game.
Yeah.
When I had the game, it was on a cartridge that was shared with some volleyball game. I played it like twice. I don't know. I was kicking people. It's so great. I would literally cry every single time playing this game. Oh my god. It's a good way to release some tension.
Yeah. I mean, you can beat the crap out of other people while playing soccer. There ain't no ref.
Yeah.
Yo, is this where NBA Street came from? Like,
Oh,
The predecessor.
The predecessor to NBA Street. NES World Cup.
There's a really niche game that was mainly, at least that's where I discovered it, on phones. It's in app stores. It's called Zenonia. They had 1 through 5.
Oh, that's what this is.
Yeah. And I'm checking right now because I have a feeling it's not on the App Store anymore.
Zenonia Chronicles. I forgot all about this game.
You can get Zenonia 5 and 4 on the Apple iOS store. I can't vouch for Android, the Google store.
I don't think it was on the Play Store because Zenonia Chronicles I played on my iPod Touch.
Yeah, same. Zenonia is a really fun RPG game. It's an action RPG. I can't remember which, because at one point I've owned all of them separately. I had 1, 2, and 3 on my old iPod Touch, I think. And then now I have 4 and 5 on my phone. And I don't remember which ones I've played, which ones I haven't. It's one of those instances where I'm like, oh, I'll pick this up and I'll play it for a couple minutes, and then like 3 hours passes and I'm like, what? I can't play this again. I can't, but no. It's like the Minecraft treatment from me where I just sit there for an hour and then it's like 7 hours. I wasn't too much of an RPG person when I was younger, mainly because I didn't have a lot of consoles and I didn't have a lot of games. When I played that game, it was kind of, if you've ever played A Link to the Past, or which one is it? That's the one that just got a remake, right? Or what is that? Link's Awakening?
Link's Awakening.
That's what I'm thinking of. Link's Awakening. It feels very similar to Link's Awakening to me. You've got different things that affect your health and your damage output. There's also a really cool concept of weight in the game. So if you have your inventory and you've got a ton of heavy, powerful shit, your character moves like molasses as you're moving.
Yep.
You go so slow. So you have to manage
Use your items. Yep.
Yeah. You have to manage your items in both like, okay, what's powerful? What's worth keeping? What can I sell? What do I have to drop so it doesn't take me 20 minutes to move 5 steps? I thought those were a really cool mechanic that I haven't seen in a lot of games since and also before then.
Zenonia, that you just hit me with a huge nostalgia bomb. That slapped me in the face. I didn't even know. I looked at it, I was like, whatever. And then you said it, I was like, oh my gosh. I remember sitting in my room on my iPod Touch at 2 o'clock in the morning.
I remember sitting in school with my iPod under my desk.
You doing algebra? Yeah. Real quick. I'm on the calculator. Oh shoot, I died. Now, Bad Lex, why do you feel like this game went under the radar?
I feel like the consoles that it was for were very limited, that a lot of people didn't have the opportunity to pick it up. It being on a phone is both a benefit and a detriment, because anyone who has a smartphone can play it, but at the same time,
it's an oversaturated market.
Exactly, word for word.
Yep,
it's way too oversaturated. I was looking into, I think it was either Zenonia 5 or Zenonia 4. One of the games was for the DSi, which I was like, what?
Interesting.
I didn't have a DSi.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Very interesting. But not a whole lot of platforms supported the game. So you had a limited accessibility.
Yep, because your target market isn't there. And for people that don't know, the Nintendo DSi was a step up from the Nintendo DS Lite. Okay,
that's debatable.
Canonically speaking, chronologically speaking, it is the next step from the Nintendo DS. Okay,
you're really making me remember the DSi right now.
The Nintendo DSi had internet.
DS Lite, DSi.
Okay, yes, ranking absolutely. The DSi is honestly like one of my most hated handhelds, but the DSi had internet and it had a camera. The camera didn't matter, whatever, but it had internet. And what happened what they did was they made apps for the Nintendo DS, but you couldn't play them on your DS Lite because you didn't have internet on your DS Lite. So you could get DSi, they called it DSiWare, which were games that you could play on the DSi. It was very, very, very uncommon in America. There were not that many DSiWare games. I have one, and I probably am close to a full collection.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong about that. I remember
browser
the DSiWare very well now.
Yeah,
I also remember not having my GBA port anymore and being mad.
I used to go on Cerebi.net on my DS Lite with the Nintendo DS browser cartridge.
Cerebi.net.
I don't even want to get into the DS browser cartridge right now, because that could be a whole separate Geek Talk of some weird, obscure stuff from our history. So this RPG is a game that I've talked about in a video 6 years ago that I want to remake. This is a game that Jeff and I talk about all the time, and how excited it makes me.
Attack and the Power of Juju.
That is lore that nobody would know, and I'm really
I'm
don't
the
make
only
me
one.
I will kick you from this. I'm not even gonna get into that. So I'm gonna introduce y'all to I don't want the music to play. Ark the Lad, Twilight of the Spirits. Now, this is a game that came out on the PS2 that was completely thrown away by everybody because it wasn't Final Fantasy, it wasn't the Tales of series, it wasn't Phantasy Star. Ark the Lad, Twilight of the Spirits is honestly one of my favorite RPGs of all time. This game is centered around two people. One's name is Dark and the other's name is, I think, like Kratos, I think is actually his name. And they're human. One is a demon, one is a human. Okay? The demons hate the humans and the humans hate the demons. And you go through two separate stories. One with Dark, one through Kratos, or I think that's his name. And of course, they combine down the line, and they intersect kind of like a DNA molecule. The story intersects, and the story is so good. It is so freaking good, and I'm so upset that no one's played this game. It's a turn-based strategy RPG, and instead of doing what Fire Emblem did and things like that, or Advance Wars where it was like tiles, you get a circle, and you get to walk inside that circle, and you can attack within. Each of your attacks have a range within that circle.
Mario plus rabbits?
Yes. And XCOM, all of that stuff. It is so good, and no one has ever played it. I love this freaking game, and
You still have it?
I do. I have a copy, and the game is only like 20 hours long. I would say, honestly, it's in my top 5 favorite RPGs of all time, and that's not just with nostalgia. When I first played this game, in the beginning, you have to get a mount. I'm not gonna spoil what it is because that's kind of funny, but you have to get a mount and you have to actually catch it yourself. And I was so young that I could not figure out how to catch this mount. I'm talking first like 2 hours of the game, I could not figure it out. I played for days and days and days and I couldn't do it.
They just give you the net from Ape Escape.
So yeah, give me the net from Ape Escape too. I was so mad. Give me a slingshot. I was so mad, and I was like, this game is garbage. Think about like 6-year-old me. I'm like, garbage, and I just threw it to the side. And then I revisited it, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try this again. And I got further, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Then in high school, I was thinking about doing a video, which was a series that I did at the time, Budget Game Reviews, in which I just talked about games that were like pretty cheap but really, really fun. And I found this game at the store that Lewis actually used to work at. And I was like, yo, I'm playing this. And oh my goodness, I was very shocked at just how phenomenal this game is. And it went under the radar for so long, and people still don't even know that Ark the Lad was a series that basically rivals Final Fantasy. this is the third game in the series. The first and second games were on the PS1.
Did you never make the video?
I did. The video is actually one of our highest counted videos. It's top five hidden gems on the PS2.
Oh, that's why I didn't see it.
Yep, top 5 hidden gems on the PS2, and I put that on one of the numbers. But yeah, this game worth a play, and the game is about $7. Oh, fourth, yes, the three is just the first 3 are on the PS1, and then this one is the 4th game. And don't ever touch the 5th game; it's really bad. But this game you could get for about $7.
So you're saying that's 4 games in the series?
Yes, there's 4 games in the series. Don't play the last one.
The last one was made by Hatsune Miku.
The last one just doesn't exist. Let's circle back. Cherry, what's the next game that you had on your list?
Okay, so I went digging into my little bag of Game Boy Advance games that I got when my local store was still open. And I'm actually going to cheat on this one. It is technically but back in the GBA games, you know, we more frequently got card games put on consoles. So I am going to go with Duel Masters.
Oh my gosh.
So it's
just talking about
boy.
Did we talk about Duel Masters last time? But not a game, but I think we talked about the card game. Anyway, keep going. Talk to me about Duel Masters on the Game Boy Advance.
Oh my god, Duel Masters. I need to talk about Duel Masters because I am incredibly upset that Duel Masters is dead. Duel Masters was one of my favorite card games of all time. And you want to know the worst thing about it? It's still alive. The only reason it is it's still alive, and it's having crossovers with my favorite franchises. Like I recently went on Twitter like not even a month ago, and I found out Duel Masters is having a card game crossover with Mega Man Battle Network. I'm like, what is going on here? Why am I not in Japan?
Japan gets yeah.
But oh my god! So Duel Masters. So it's a card game. And it is very akin to Magic the Gathering. It was originally created sort of as a companion buddy to Magic the Gathering. And it didn't really take off in the West as much as it did in Japan. In Japan, it took off like wildfire. But it's one of its unique mechanics was that instead of there's often this in card games, there's also a very difficult way to deal damage and have it be fair. And Duel Masters came up with one of the most unique ways of dealing damage, and that would be the shield system. So when the game, after you cut your cards and shuffle them all right, one of the first things you take the top 5 of your deck, you lay them out as your shields. And when all those shields are gone, you lose the game after you get attacked one more time. The very unique thing about the shield trigger system was that if you hit those shield triggers, those cards go back into your hand, or you can hit something, or you can hit something called a shield trigger, and you can play the card immediately. So it was one of the most unique and probably innovative deck as life systems, as they say in the card game sphere, that you would ever see, because you didn't have to throw away your cards. You get them immediately, and you immediately have a chance for a big old turnaround. So and Duel Masters, it led to so many situations where you could be on the verge of death. The last shield trigger you hit is Holy All, and then all of a sudden, all your opponent's monsters are tapped. You can't do nothing throughout this turn, and you put down a couple cards, and bam, I win. Great, I love it.
You know, it did not take off in the West because
Magic
Pokemon took off in the West, and this was basically Magic the Gathering Light, and Magic the Gathering already had a target market, and Pokemon took over Duel Masters market.
Duel Masters was very much buried underneath a landslide of different
cards. But in Japan, Magic the Gathering was not that popular, so when they animified Magic the Gathering and made it easier, it went.
Yeah, Duel Masters is still going strong, buddy.
It's still going strong.
Japan has so many good card games that just failed here, like the Digimon one.
Yep. Actually, the Digimon one is coming back.
Ooh.
I don't know if you've seen, but
it's kind of coming back. It's kind of a bad time to start up a card game right now because of Ligma, but
I think it's online.
Apparently, apparently Magic the Gathering, you're able to use your cards in some sort of online fashion.
Yes, there's an
can't
MTG
Ooh,
Arena.
so you're saying it's become chaotic.
Yes, it is chaotic now. MTG Arena finally came out because Wizards of the Coast was finally like, hey, we should have a space where people don't have to go out. Yo, when I played Magic, and I used to go to FNM, like you would be there from 4 o'clock for prep up until like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I'm
no
like,
from
yeah, you would make a few $100s if you win, but yeah, you worked for what, like 6 hours straight.
Yeah.
It was longer than that, actually. What, 10 hours is that? Wow, that's why I stopped playing Magic. All right, Bast, talk to me. What was your next game?
Dragon Quest Builders 2.
Dragon Quest Builders 2.
Yeah, and
Okay,
I have
I'm
thanks to that. So, Dragon Quest Builders 2, to simplify it, is like Minecraft with like a Dragon Quest story to it, and it's very adorable. It was my first game of the Dragon Quest series, and it's just funny because it's not really part of the main series. It's adorable. I cried. If you think you can cry at Minecraft, you could definitely cry at this game. All the characters are charming. The story is cute and hilarious. And even though I'm not good at crafting and building and making pretty things like other people, I still very much enjoyed the game.
Yes, this game was phenomenal. This is actually one of the best games that released in 2019. No cap. Top 10, probably top 5. It was so good.
Now,
Now,
reminded me of this. I'm gonna go put it in my wish list right now.
it is so good. I can't stress how good this game is. I'm not really into the building thing, and
I'm bad. I'm so bad at it.
I fell in love with this game. I fell in love with it. It's so fun. Now, why do you feel like this game went under the radar, Bast?
Again, I don't watch game news or anything like that. I've never even heard of a Dragon Quest before, before Anthony. I feel like Final Fantasy has this like grip on like the US, whereas Dragon Quest is trying to like get there. So I feel like people hear Dragon Quest and they're like, well, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna go watch Cloud Strife on like
Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1.
I still have to play that, by the way, but yeah. I'm bad. I'm very bad for playing games.
It's okay, same.
Relatable.
Anthony, DQ, and Brandon Baxter, yes. Play Dragon Quest. They're all good. Pick one. Just pick a number and you'll have a good time. 11.
11.
9.
11. 9. All of them. 9 is...
8.
Yo, 9 made me cry. I was crying manly tears.
Not... Oh, I wish. Dragon Quest 9 is now one of the rare games on the Nintendo DS.
No.
I had that game and my cousin borrowed it and I have never gotten it back.
And actually, so Dragon Quest 9 has multiplayer support in which you can play the game with your friends. Like you can go through the game with your friend as a party member.
If you have friends.
If you have friends. And they had DLC. Oh, this is on the Nintendo DS. There was DLC for the game. Yes, and it was free. Yes. It was free. And the servers are all down. But somebody a couple of years ago brought all of the DLC back on a separate server that you can still find. So, if you want to play Dragon Quest 9, I highly recommend it. I'm not going to say not to emulate it, because the game right now is like $90, but
yeah, here I am thinking like, oh, I could just rebuy Dragon Quest 9.
No, you can't.
I mean, you can. You just have to spend, an arm and a leg.
Now,
Bread.
Yeah, you want to take one of my pinkies first? Maybe cut a deal. I'll pay you back.
Cut a deal.
Just going off what Bass said, this game, Dragon Quest Builders, is a perfect entry point for people that want to get into Dragon Quest, because it has that Dragon Quest charm. It has kind of that RPG element, but it's also very casual. It's very light. Where you're not like, oh, I gotta play for 500 hours to get really invested in the story. It's like, no,
That's the rest of the Dragon Quest games.
that's the rest of the Dragon Quest games. But this one, it just hits you. It's just like, you start off and it's like, okay, cool, you doing stuff, this is actually pretty cool. Then you keep going, you're like, wow, this is actually amazing. And then you get closer and closer to the end, you're like, this is phenomenal, I don't want it to stop. And it doesn't stop. It just hits a climax and it just keeps going. It is so fun. So highly recommend. It is on the PS4 and it's on the Nintendo Switch, and the PS4 version is almost always on sale. So there is absolutely no excuse that y'all aren't playing this game, because it's so good. I mean, we have someone in our Discord that has been playing this game nonstop for over a year now. Has over like 300,000 of the freaking points of this game.
The gratuity, right?
Yes.
The best? Yes.
That's how good this game is.
Nalroth, best boy, absolutely.
So Jeff said Waka Waka in the chat.
Yep.
And that reminded me that I did send you a third game.
That's what I thought. You were like, oh, I didn't. Now, Waka Waka, Flame, tell me, what was this next game?
So that was Pac-Man World 2.
Pac-Man World 2.
Thanks for the setup.
You've exposed Lewis. Good job.
It is a platformer, not a collectathon for once.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a platformer, get from A to B, where you go through pretty challenging worlds with a somewhat limited moveset, but if you get good at it, you can do some wild things with it. Like you ever watch speedrun, do some speedrun strategy, skip over like 3/4 of the level.
Yeah.
Going over a wall. Yeah. I don't know. Play Sonic Adventure or something. No walls.
No
yeah,
walls.
what are walls? What actually are walls?
But yeah, Pac-Man World 2, just a really fun platformer, and I feel like all these games I described,
it does
I feel
go
like
in.
I talk about and no one's ever played, even though I feel like people probably know about them.
Yeah.
So.
No one has played this game, and like, what was it that you enjoyed about this game?
It's just fun, you know. It's Pac-Man, so there's not going to be a story to go into. It's just a lot of really interesting levels. The bosses get kind of redundant, but it's just a fun time. Also, there's you can collect tokens through the levels and unlock all these old Pac-Man games.
Yeah.
So that's why I played Pac Attack, which is basically I forgot what other game it's like. It's like Puyo Pop almost.
I absolutely love this game. I don't know why, but I have this game on PS2. I will promise you, I did not own this game. I mean, I did like 15 years ago, but for some reason I opened up my PS2 and there was a copy of Pac-Man World 2 there. So there's that. This game was really good.
Like, okay, so like I gotta ask an actual question right now.
Mm-hmm.
Why the graphics for this game look like the nightmares from Courage the Cowardly Dog?
You know, budgets.
Okay.
3D 3D was pretty new at the time. We're still working on it.
Now, why do you feel this game went under the radar?
I feel like Pac-Man just wasn't the some people were looking for at that time. You know, it's like people will recognize it, but they're not gonna really think to pick it up when there's so many other options, especially on the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox.
Yep.
Because it came out during that generation when everything was going in a different direction and this cartoony platformer.
Little did they know platformers were gonna die, and for gray first-person shooters were gonna be the the big things.
Because they didn't buy Pac-Man World 2. If they did, then maybe it would be in a different timeline.
Yeah. Honestly, it's funny because I'm glad you brought this up, because this game actually goes hard for no reason. This game is actually very, very good, and you can probably pick up this game for like $1.
Yeah.
It's on the PS2 and it's on the GameCube. It wasn't on the Xbox.
Oh,
And I think the unfortunate thing is like the Pac-Man brand, it's not like a brand. It's hard because the brand is just the original game. And
yeah.
what they were trying to do at this time, and they keep trying to do, and I don't think it'll ever work, but they keep trying to make it a brand where it's like these 3D characters, and they, you know, all the ghosts are characters, and it's funny, and then Pac-Man is 3D, and it's like that's not what people remember Pac-Man as. And that's why like that new Pac-Man, that was the Pac-Man World Championship that came out, it's like
that's actually the Pac-Man DX.
Yep.
That game's really fun. I love that game.
Yeah, that game is actually like an amazing game, like probably one of the best games you'll play, and it's just Pac-Man. And it's like the Tetris Effect game. It's like when you recognize that your brand is what your brand is, you could just keep expanding on that. This was not their brand. And there's also not just one, not two, but there were 3 different Pac-Man cartoons. 3. And none of them were good.
Oh my god.
Now, tell me, what was one of those games that was one of the best games of all time that our chat has not heard of?
So, IMO, and I think I spoke about this in a previous Geek Talk if I remember correctly. One of the best games that the chat might not have heard of is Shining Force.
Shining Force.
Force.
That name sounds so familiar.
It is so much fun. It is a turn-based tactical RPG, but it's not Fire Emblem. The characters move based on their speed, which is a really unique element. And it's not, and I think I actually talked about this exact thing when I spoke about it on Geek Talk, because it's not just based on your party speed, you go and then the enemy goes. It's like whoever the fastest character on the field is going. So it gets frustrating when you have instances of like, okay, I'm going to move my one character and then 6 of the other guys are going to move. And then it goes back to one of my characters and then 4 more of the other enemy team moves. It's like, okay, that's great. That does get a little frustrating, but for a Genesis game, because I believe it originally came out either on the Genesis or the Sega Mega Drive or whatever it's called. I think it looks really great. It's a lot of fun to play. I have a distinct memory of beating the game on PC, but it wasn't actually the end of the game, and I was really confused. Like my brain just cut out an entire chunk of the end of the game. I don't want to spoil anything, because you should get it. I'm pretty sure it's still available on phones.
It is.
And also you can buy it for, I don't think it's too expensive from what I've seen.
It's in the Genesis collection.
Yeah, exactly. Shining Force and Shining Force 2, which I still have to play. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it.
Bad Lex. So why do you feel like Shining Force went under the radar? I know Mila Kalimatui touched on it a little bit with Final Fantasy Tactics and Fire Emblem, but was there more to that?
I feel like it also has to do with, again, that kind of limited console type of deal. Not having a solid foot in the door. And I feel like that's a fairly common theme, like your game. I can't remember the exact name of it, but the one that you mentioned in the budget game review, that you also mentioned here,
Arc the Lad?
Yeah, Arc the Lad. ARK, right? The Lad?
Yep. ARC.
ARC the Lad? Okay. Writing that down. But you kind of have a market that has saturation of a bunch of different types of games, and depending on what people are able to hear about first, that kind of determines their exposure to other things. Because if you hear about a game like Mario and then you hear about Sonic and you're just like, oh, it's just Mario but blue and an animal, you know? So you hear about Shining Force and you're just like, oh, it's just Fire Emblem, but your characters move all different. It's weird. So I feel like that has definitely something to do with it at the very least. But speaking of Sonic.
Okay, speaking of Sonic.
And we're talking about the DX version of this game.
Oh, DX.
Sonic Adventure DX.
The speedrunner is back.
Ooh, yeah.
Director's cut.
This game is
I
so
was-
good.
I was
DX
waiting.
Director's cut. The DC version, the Dreamcast version of the game, sold 2.5 million units. Sonic Adventure DX has come out on like 12 different consoles and has only sold a little over 2 million units. Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast! Just the Dreamcast! Only the Dreamcast! 2.5 million units. I just don't understand.
I do own Sonic Adventure. I do own Sonic Adventure DX for like 4 different platforms.
So do I. I have 2 copies of it over on the bookshelf, or I'm about to buy another copy of it for like $5.
I don't have any.
When we went to MagFest at the beginning of 2020, can't believe it was the beginning of 2020.
That was
Oh my
this year.
Yeah,
MagFest was in 2020. You sure?
yeah. Latoya and I bought a copy of the game, and we sped ran it right there at MagFest.
Yes, you did.
We split up the stages, so we would alternate every other stage. And right now on stream, I'm gonna beat Sonic Story.
Oh. FYI,
I mean,
if y'all want to watch this game and see the game and actually like see it, Bad Lex is going to be streaming this on Saturday, and Matui streaming when? Tomorrow.
Probably also on Saturday, but Matoy is also streaming tomorrow. I don't know if they're going to be streaming Sadix now, but I guess now they have to.
I'm
They're
just
forced into a
saying.
corner.
I'm just saying. Follow the both of them. For this game.
Twitch.tv/badluck727.
I cannot stress enough how cool it is to watch this game speedrun, because there are no walls.
There are literally no walls.
No walls.
There is a 4-minute stage where you're supposed to collect like 500 rings, and we just say, "Oh, nope," and beat it in 7 seconds.
Hey.
I think that's my favorite example. Next
Prince
to Ice
Peach.
Cap.
Sonic also had an RPG. Oh god, wait, Matui got to it before me. Yeah.
It was just
Oh.
awful. They're remaking it, I think. Not like anyone official, but
No,
I
yeah,
think
I saw
fans
that.
are redoing it.
It looks really good.
Yeah,
Now,
it
Doing it
looks-
so it has a good battle system and a competent story.
Yo, speaking of battle, Sonic Battle is underrated as heck.
Yo, Sonic Battle is.
For the GBA.
Oh
Those
my god.
which I watched
Was that the
Matoy
racing game?
speedrun.
You
No.
know, speedrunning,
a
you're just
fighting
gonna
game.
play through.
Oh, it's
You're
just a
doing the
playthrough.
most casual playthrough.
Oh
Wait, it's a
no.
fighting game? A Sonic
Yes,
fighting
a
game?
GBA fighting game.
A
Sonic
GBA
that,
fighting game that's not Sonic the Fighters.
with a character that you can put custom movesets on from other people's moves.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
And you can also
Oh.
change the color scheme of that character. Really
Mhm.
awesome.
Sonic Battle. All
Yo, that
right.
game
Yo.
gets hard later on.
Oh
No.
yeah.
I watched Matoy get one shot, like repeatedly. And then one of the final bosses, Eggman, just spams you with missiles. You're trying to respawn, and the game is just flying, throwing attacks at you. It's like, what? What do I do? How do I play this?
Let's get through these 5 first. Cherry,
Yo.
start me.
Okay.
Best game that our chat has not heard of.
Okay, so I'm gonna take
Yes, I'm
you,
challenging you,
keeping with
Jeff.
the Dual Master theme. I'm gonna take you back to that childhood days. I'm gonna take you back to Beat 'em on.
Beat-a-mon.
Beat 'em
Talk to
on.
me. What is Battle Beat-a-mon?
You know, I honestly don't know myself.
Me neither.
I really don't. Beat 'em on, you know, in the sugar-filled like land that is my childhood. Beat 'em on was like a fever dream of just something that just came and went like a beautiful comet, and then I go back to it. But Beat 'em on, I think the game is just called Beat 'em on. That's it. Nothing else special to it.
I think
But
I think the anime in America was called Battle Beat-a-mon though.
I think it was called Battle Beat 'em on, but Battle. Yeah, I like saying that now. Battle Beat 'em on was a GBA game. I think they had 2 in Japan. But basically, what you basically had marble shooters,
Marbles.
and yeah, you shot marbles. And I had some of these things
Competitive
when I
marbles.
was. Yes, it's competitive marble shooting. So basically, you basically shot marbles. out of these little like, I don't know, mini like hand Gundams that you could customize.
Mhm.
That's the best way to describe them. And they had different formats too, and they all had like special magical shots, like they're all Beyblades or something.
Yep.
So there was one shot. There's like a shootout mode where like you're all trying to shoot marbles back and forth, so you can hit the little bit of trigger on the other person, and you can close them and so their shooter closes up and you win the round. And there's another one where you're trying to play a game with like shoot the gap, and trying to test your accuracy. There's one mode where you're trying to
break the target.
Break the target, and you could customize them to have more power, to shoot faster. Man, Battle Beat 'em On was one of those cool, just childhood things that only I was into. No one else cared about it. No one else cared about this like anime Western fever dream of like cowboy anime boys shooting marbles back at each other.
That's because this show, and I'm gonna take this one because this is my specialty. Cartoons.
Ooh, yeah.
This show was on Toonami. Okay.
Yes, it was.
But the target audience was children.
Mm.
So let me tell you guys about primetime television. Primetime television is 8 p.m. 8 p.m. What were we watching at 8 p.m.? Pokemon, Digimon, not Beatamon.
That's one too many mons.
That's one too many mons. That is goes for I could go on. That goes for Shaman King. That goes for Rune. What is it called? Oh my god. Rune Masters. That goes for. I mean,
Redikai, Chaotic.
Chaotic was on at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my god.
Chaotic was on at 8 o'clock in the morning on Fox Kids, I believe.
Oh yes, it was. Jesus Christ.
And like y'all, that Rave Master, all of them. If you're gonna target people, if you're gonna target children that are trying to target that Pokemon audience, that Beyblade audience, Beyblade came on in the morning. It did not come on at 9 o'clock at night. Ain't no kid gonna stay up for 9 o'clock at night to watch Battle Beat 'em On. And if you can't get them to watch the anime, to watch the show, they're not gonna buy the toys. And that is why this failed. And that is not to say that this isn't a good game, because I'm sure it's great.
I didn't even talk about the game yet. The game is great. The thing I love about the game so much is that it's exactly what you imagine playing Battle Beat 'em On to like, but with like magical superpowers thrown in there it's great.
This is a game that I feel like I have never talked about before. It was honestly one of my favorite games in the Nintendo 3DS. This is a game that came out at the end of the 3DS's life cycle. Like I think this was probably the third to last game to come out for the Nintendo 3DS. I absolutely love this game, and I really wish the only other person that I've heard play this is our friend Val. That game is called Ever Oasis.
Didn't that come out in the last couple of years?
Yes, it did.
Oasis. I think I remember you talking about this game actually.
Ever Oasis is a game that came out in 2018, I want to say. And it came out for the Nintendo 3DS. This game was honestly way better than it had any right to be. So what this game is, it's a RPG life sim, kind of like Rune Factory, but more focused on the RPG, less focused on the life sim. So what you're doing is you're building up this town, this whole village in the desert. And to build up this village in the desert, you have to go and find people out in the desert that are like all scattered about, and you create a community of diverse characters to fight against the bad, just like UzerFriendly. So what this game does so well is that it's you and two other party members, and the party members all have different abilities based off of what their origin is. And it is so much fun to play around with it. Not only that, you can actually switch between the characters. And on top of that, this game Ever Oasis does something so great where you can actually play as add all those characters that you recruit into your party, kind of like Suikoden, where it's like, oh, I have a chef, I want to fight with that chef. Is that a good idea Probably not, but you can, and it's awesome. I absolutely love this game, and I highly recommend that people pick up this game. This game did not do well because this game came out in 2018. The Switch was already a year old.
I remember. Didn't this game like suck away a month of your life when you first got it?
It did. I 100%ed it because I fell in love with it. It was just so much fun.
I remember you like going on about this, like, dang, this game sucked away his entire life for like a whole month.
I loved this game. I could not put this game down. Even the final boss, I beat the boss and I was like, oh, I kind of just want to play again. Because getting the party members is always my favorite part of RPGs, and this game in particular just had such a great cast of party members, and it had such diverse gameplays you see on the screen with all the different puzzles and stuff, because every person had their own role and they do different things. And it's like, oh, do I bring this guy with the big hammer this time? Or because then I could break rocks. But also, like, there's these leaves where I could go in them and I could go flying. Maybe I need to fly. Oh, but I need more like agileness. So maybe I'm gonna bring the snake person with the spear. Oh my goodness, it feels good to 5-brain games like these. This game, definitely worth it. And then let's segue back. Hold on. I've got the perfect segue. Going back onto the topic of games that were targeted towards children, but we're in the wrong time slot and keep trying to target the target audience of Pokemon, but did not do well. Cherry, do you want to introduce our next game?
Oh boy. All right. So I've taken you deep back into the childhood days. I've taken you to the Duel Masters.
I'm sitting in front of my 13-inch CRT right now. I'm up. I got my PJs on. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I woke up for this. Cherry, what did I just wake up for?
You woke up for Metabots.
Metabots.
Oh my God.
Talk to me about the Metabots game.
Okay, the Metabots game was both amazing and awful, like completely awful. Now, when you load up the game, the only thing that you agreed to was like one opening
don't get me started on
cutscene,
Yokai Watch,
and where you were just like, there's a tournament going on, let's go do it, and then you just go do it. You just go around fighting random battles until you unlock the next day, the ranked battles where you can gamble parts and gain or lose parts. Now I'm gonna come back to that one. Now, the thing about the Metabots game, like, the gameplay is incredibly simple. You basically have 2 buttons for a punch or attack, and you have one, and all the battles are 2-on-1. So basically, and you can completely cheat this game almost. You can basically block every other attack, with minimal damage to your parts, or your opponent could score a critical hit on your best part, and you lose your arm, and you're running around screaming like a child with your head cut off, like, oh my God, I'm going to lose. What's going on? And absolutely, it's one of those games that started my love of games where you can just completely customize everything. Same with the beat 'em on. Same with playing King card games. The amount of customizability you had in this game for its simple combat was really top tier. You could spend a lot of time just going around trying to get the other parts. There's a lot of RNG to it, but the most frustrating thing about this game was that you have the potential to lose parts, technically permanently. Like, you can go around and get them back, and it takes forever to do so it's just kind of not worth doing. But if you lose one of your starting parts from either Metabee or Rokusho, one of the main Metabots, you cannot get those back ever at all. And so your collection will ever remain incomplete. And I realized this, and I saved my game, and I had to restart my entire game while I was going for 100%. I was very sad.
I am so sorry.
Yes. Now, the Metabots is another one of those things that's also still going on in Japan, and just has a much more huge lifestyle. Now, the Metabot game I'm talking about, it was it was sort of like a platform fighter, but like the 5 games that came before this, which, by the way, all of these are getting not a remaster, a boxed collection release on the 3DS in Japan and not in America.
Nope.
Yep. So, and all the ones before this were all were they turn-based? Yeah, they're turn-based ones where you can each target individual parts and such. So, I'm just incredibly curious if we're ever going to see that, or if I'm just going to have to, take up the emulator routes.
Yeah,
But
Metabots is still huge in Japan. Huge.
I'm so sad. They have all these cool things in Japan from my childhood, and I don't get any of them.
I'm talking like Pokemon level loving of Metabots in Japan. Probably a little bit less though, because the number one of those creature games that Japan loves is the one that Matoy was talking about, Yokai Watch, and I'm not getting into that because I could go on about Yokai Watch for 2 hours. I love Yokai Watch.
Oof, oof, oof.
But the perfect segue. So, on the topic of customization, I don't think you guys understand just how big brain it is to segue into these games. So, on the concept, on the same topic of customization, this game came out last year by a studio that no longer exists. It exists, but all the people left, and they made a new studio this year. Actually, we talked about it on Geek Talk last week, and this game was on my Facebook feed nonstop, like, oh, you should play it, you should back it on Kickstarter. And I thought about it, I was like, nah. This is from like 2015. Game came out last year, the end of last year, and I bought it day one immediately on the PS4, and I wanted the Switch version, and the Switch version didn't come out until a few months ago, and I fell so in love with this game that even just looking at it makes me want to replay it. And that is music. God damn it. Got it. Now, talking 505 games with Indivisible. You can customize your entire party because there are, what is it, like 60 characters? There's 60 party members?
Ooh, we're going to Indivisible, huh?
There are a lot. Oh my god, I forgot about the pirate. My heart just This game was so good, and it had no right to be this good. This game is an RPG that I know I've only talked about RPGs today, but this game is an RPG / platformer Metroidvania in which you play as what's her name?
Isn't also part fighter too?
Yes, because it's based off of the battle system of, what's it called? Not Valkyria Chronicles, but Valkyrie Profile. It's based off that combat system in which you have to do inputs of directional inputs and button presses to do certain attacks, and then you can combo with your other party members in any order. And the nonsense that you can pull off, I mean, there's one character where I just made a whirlwind that none of the enemies could leave, and then all the rest of the characters kept attacking, and one character attacks while healing everybody that's right next to them. Position matters. This entire game was so good, and the art style is amazing. It's so good.
My friend talked about this game nonstop when it came out. He loved it, mostly because now I don't know if how many anime nerds we have in here. Probably zero. Am I right?
All of
Jokes
them.
on you.
I don't watch anime. It was a mistake.
But one of the big reasons Indivisible got into some of the spotlight it did is because I believe Studio Trigger did a lot of the animation.
Yes, they did.
And it was a very big deal.
Yes, they did.
Beautiful.
Talk to me, Studio Trigger. What did they do?
Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill.
Yep.
Promare, if you've seen that movie, which was amazing.
DNA.
I can watch all of those all over again.
Kill the kill.
Yes.
Kill the
Phantalite Play it. It's so good. And not only is there this combat, but there's like platforming involved, and it's a Metroidvania, so you could just go in different directions and the story doesn't change, but like you get different powers, and then you're like, oh wait, I just got this power, I'm gonna go back to this area, and then I'm gonna do this, and then oh my god. The thing is, Cherry touched on this a little bit at the beginning when we were talking about mech games and how it's impossible to balance. This game is not balanced at all, but
I noticed that.
but it is so much fun to break. It is so much fun to finally, like, you're like, oh man, I was struggling, and then you finally get that combo, that niche that you love so much, and you're like, I could just win. And you get through the last area, like the last area of the game, without a scratch, and you're like, wow, I just win. And then you fight the last boss and you cry.
And then you cry.
And then you cry, and then you cry some more, and then you look it up online and people are like, oh, this was too easy, and you're like, why can't I beat this? I've been on this for 3 days. Play Indivisible. It's so good. It's on PC, it's on Switch, it's on PS4. There's a lot of game breaking glitches, I will admit, and it's got the coolest function that I've ever seen in a video game that more video games need to take. They have a save file. You have one save file, or you get 3 different save files, right? 1, 2, and 3. But the thing is, when you save over your save file in slot 1, it creates a separate state that you can go back to. So people like me that save 500 times in Skyrim, and you got to go through 500 different save files, and then you have a different profile. It's basically, it makes one profile with, I think it's 99 different save states that you can do at any point.
Oh, I understand.
Yep. So it's why games don't do this more often is beyond me, because saving over my save file gives me so much anxiety after Final Fantasy X screwed me.
Oh my god.
Not Final Fantasy, I'm sorry, Final Fantasy 12 screwed me.
Yeah.
No.
Do you want to tell that story?
In Final Fantasy 12, there are 5 treasure chests that you cannot open. If you open any of the 5 treasure chests, then you cannot get the best weapon in the game, the Zodiac Spear. And these treasure chests are not marked. The only way that you would know they're not marked at all. They're just normal treasure chests in 5 random places. One is at the very beginning of the game. And the thing is, you wouldn't know, because the only way you would know is if you bought the strategy guide. And that's why they did that.
That's incredibly fair.
Incredibly fair. Yes.
Cross promotion, baby.
They got rid of it in the remake, which is, you should never play the original. You should only play Zodiac Age. The original is garbage. The Zodiac Age is actually really good. Never play the original. But yeah, they got rid of that. So I've had anxiety on saving over my save files since then, which is why I have 450 Skyrim save files and I've never beaten the game.
Ooh, cuz. All right. I'm gonna pull a bait and switch on you right now.
Oh no.
Yes. Oh yes. I post. There's another link. There's another link right above the chat. I'm gonna post that. So
I can't pull up the chat. But keep going.
All right. I'm gonna
chat.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't pull up Discord.
I'm gonna take you to Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors 2.
All right, Cherry, talk to me about Supersonic Warriors 2.
Okay. So the reason I did that bait switch, cause in back in the childhood days, if you were a Dragon Ball Z nut, well, I'm pretty sure most of you were. The thing about Dragon Ball Z games were that a lot of them were really, really bad.
Legacy of Goku.
Oh boy, Legacy of Goku. Legacy of Goku. Now, there is like 3 amazing tier fighting games. Well, not Dragon Ball Z games to be specific. There was, now the first one we have is the most recent one, the Dragon Ball Z fighting game, Dragon Ball Z Fighters. The third one was Legacy of Goku 2, which if you played Legacy of Goku 1, that game was booty cheeks. Legacy of Goku 2, amazing. One of the best games you can get on the Game Boy Advance. You really should play it again. Now, the second one, Dragon Ball Z Supersonic Warriors 2, is amazing. It is probably the most, now it is a fighting game. It is a fighting game. It is probably the most freeform and it's probably the most freeform Dragon Ball Z fighting game to ever exist. It has so many ideas and it lets you relive so many epic moments of Dragon Ball Z. Now, a lot of the characters in the game can get a bit repetitive, and that's probably kind of an issue with Dragon Ball itself. But you could do things like you can fly in the air, you can shoot beams, or you're soaring around the screen around your opponents at super fast speeds. Hence, the Supersonic Warriors part. You're doing all these crazy combos. You can do beam clashes. If you're playing Frieza and you do Frieza special, what is Frieza's? Okay, I'm asking questions. No, if Frieza's special hits the ground and goes into the earth, if you wait about like 2 minutes, the entire stage explodes and you win automatically. There's so many cool things you can do. But the main reason I picked Dragon Ball Super Sonic Warriors 2 is that it has a challenge mode where you constantly go through just like random story battles, and they get progressively harder. This challenge mode is one of the most brutal things I have ever played in my life. Let me tell you. The final battle versus Goku is so hard. If he touches you once, you die. If he gives you a Kamehameha once, you die almost instantaneously. It is not a joke. If you've ever wanted to play a game that is pure Dragon Ball Z hype and feel like you're actually fighting like the legend that is Goku himself, play Dragon Ball Z Super Sonic Warriors 2, get to that challenge mode, and then just go at it for hours and hours on end as you attempt to beat him.
This game, it doesn't look like it came out in America, did it?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. It's probably one of the hardest Dragon Ball Z games you're going to like get. It was for the Nintendo DS.
Yeah.
And the original was for Game Boy, but it's going to be a very hard find. But if you can find it, trust me, it's amazing.
Oh, that might actually go on my list. I like hard to find games.
Oh yeah, not an easy one to find.
So, Dark Cloud 1 is an RPG. It is a dungeon crawler. It's a real-time action dungeon crawler where you have to go through like dungeons and you're saving the world, normal JRPG story. Thing is, Dark Cloud allows you to like build your town out just like in Ever Oasis. This is on the PS2, so that's a lot to say in like 2002, right? And what's awesome about this game is that Dark Cloud 1 has a hunger and a thirst meter. You need to drink water while you're in the dungeon. If you don't drink water, you dehydrate and die.
That sounds great already. I love it.
I was about to post Baldur's Gate, and then I realized that Baldur's Gate 3 comes out tomorrow, apparently.
Yes.
Oh my god.
And it was actually remade on the Switch. So again, thank you guys all for coming out. Come back out on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. EST, where I am going to be solving a murder mystery. We were talking about murder mysteries. I'm still solving a murder mystery. Sunday morning at 9 a.m. EST sharp. I'm going to solve this mystery, and I'm going to get my mother out of jail because they blamed her for this murder, and I know it's not her. Don't make sense. It don't add up. Don't add up. If you can't make it to the Sunday morning Wholesome Sunday stream, come back out next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. EST, where we're going to have another amazing topic. Next topic, not going to be about video games. We're actually going to be talking about some animation and cartoons and anime. So, definitely come on out for next week, because y'all are talking about backlogs on Netflix. You don't even know. Just wait until we get into the talk.